Okay, so the first question that we have in front of us is close passage. We all know, if you've been a part of my sessions earlier, even on YouTube, if you've noticed, for close passage, I don't want to, at the cost of sounding repetitive, right, we always skim the passage. So we have an idea of what the passage is about. It will help us choose associated words. But if you had taken the test last week, I think this close passage was part of the test. Now there are some options where you might think, hey, why not this option? Because it's almost the same meaning, right? So when you have more than 2-3 answer options, you will have to choose the most effective word, obviously. How will you identify the most effective word? By understanding the context of the passage, right? The passage is always giving me some central theme or idea. So that's why it's important for us to skim the passage. Let's do that quickly within 30 seconds and then we'll start. So those of you who've taken the test, you know the answers. I understand that you want to give out the answers, but the objective of this session is to identify why is that the right answer and why not the other options, right? We're learning here. So yes, you can post your answers, no problem, but I'm saying this is the objective. Let's go back to the passage. I'm reading aloud. India's healthcare sector stands at a crucial dash point and is poised for takeoff. A dash population, a booming economy, rapid urbanization, and a growing awareness and appetite for pursuing healthcare. These are the ingredients going into the formula that has dashed the growth of the healthcare industry. However, every rose has its thorn. Indian healthcare expenditure is still amongst the lowest globally and a significant challenge dash in terms of dash of healthcare service and quality of patient care, what with the majority of healthcare focused in India's urban areas. Okay, so if you read the context, you have an idea. Obviously, it's about healthcare. Great, right? And they're talking about something that is beginning stage, the initial first 2 sentences, and towards the end they're saying, hey, but this is the current situation, right? What is the current situation of the healthcare industry? What needs to be done? So I have an idea, I have a gist. Okay, so keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind. Now let's go back and attack each blank. Yeah. Now, so every time, a couple of things, okay, before we get started again. Close passage. One is, step 1 we've done. We've skimmed the passage, we have an idea. It will help us choose associated words. Step 2, we're going to apply other techniques. Other techniques, matlab, there will be clues in the context. In this particular blank, this is the most effective word because that clue is helping us, right? So I want you to look for, and we will also look for associated words, which are collocations, my favorite term. Collocations, right? This word has to go with this. This is how it is because it makes more logical sense that way. Let's go back. Blank 1. India's healthcare sector stands at a crucial dash point. I will give you 4 options. Option 1. Either you can substitute the blank with your own answer, right? If I have to add a word in this blank, what word will I add? Then you look at the options, choose the most appropriate option. That is one thing you can do. 2 is collocations. 3 is context clues. 4 is, I don't know, let's see, right? Let's go back. My options are variation, pitch, inflection, delivery, modulation. Now, when I look at these 5 options, variation, pitch, inflection, delivery, modulation, there is some common link, no, in all these words. Can you tell me what that link is? It's to do with what? Variation, pitch, inflection, delivery, modulation. What does it relate to for you? Quickly, let me see who is able to give me that. When I look at all these 5 words for blank 1, what can I quickly relate these words to? Everything is associated to one thing. What is it? When I look at all those 5 options, it is related to something. What is that? Think, I want you to apply common sense. Some of you are saying change. I don't want the answers. Some of you are coming back and saying pitch, inflection. You're giving me the option, but I'm saying there is a connection between all these 5 words. What can I connect all these words to? Turning point, extreme point. Come on guys, You know this. Going back, I'm projecting the options again. What can I relate all these? Mood, Bala says important point, Kiran says similar, Rudra says sharp change. Okay, time up. All of these 5 options, words, I can relate it to speech. है ना? Speaking. All of this, I can relate it to speech. What is variation, pitch, inflection, delivery, modulation? All of this is what? Can you show again? Inflection. There is a variation in my tone, in the way I'm speaking. I'm modulating my tone. Can you show again? I'm angry. You can make out that I am angry in my tone, right? So this variation, this pitch is inflection, and delivery is nothing but the way I'm delivering in my style. है ना? All these 5 words I can relate to speaking, correct? Now, in the option, in my first blank, India's healthcare sector stands at a crucial dash point and is poised for takeoff. It's about to show some sort of a difference. Imagine a flight taking off, about to take off. Matlab grand opening, right? If that is the case, from the given option, what will be the most effective word? We all know that one word has different meanings in different context. है ना? In our context, we are talking about, if I have to substitute that blank with my own word, first blank, what word will I put? India's healthcare sector stands at a crucial dash point and is poised for takeoff, which means it is at a place where it can either go like this or either go like that, right? So it is very important. It's an extremely, some of you gave me explanations. It is an important turning point. It is some sort of an bringing in some change which is relevant, which is necessary, which is the need of the hour. So if I'm saying all that from the options, will I look at variation as the right word? Will I look at pitch as the right word? Will I look at inflection as the right word? Will I look at delivery as the right word? Or will I look at modulation as the right word? Right? The most effective word given the options, most of you are coming back and giving me options, delivery, pitch, delivery point, all of that, okay? But the most effective word given the option is, we are talking about, like I said, most of you came back and gave me answers. Important, right? I'm trying to get you to think out of the box. There's always a connection between options, right? When you have more than 1, 2, 3 options that you think fits the blank, right? Because most of you are coming back and all of you are not giving me the same answer, no? Some of you are saying pitch, some of you are saying delivery, some of you are saying variation, inflection. So we need to connect the dots and choose the most effective word. So if I have to choose the most effective word, another meaning of option C, inflection, is nothing but a change in the course of something. And that is exactly the meaning that we need in point blank 1. Okay. So, India's healthcare sector stands at a crucial inflection point. Why inflection? Like I said, we're talking about a change in a particular course of action. Another meaning for inflection apart from all of this. Right? So, some sort of a turning away. So, are you following? So, that's why option C, inflection, is the most effective word compared to all the other words. India's healthcare sector, let's go back. India's healthcare sector stands at a crucial inflection point, meaning this is a point where it has to decide whether it's going to take the right course of action. It's poised for takeoff, but is it going to make the right course of action? Okay. Moving on. A dash population, a booming economy, rapid urbanization, and a growing awareness and appetite for pursuing healthcare. These are the ingredients going into the formula. So for blank 2, can you identify? I will give you the technique that we're going to apply, which is clues, context clues. Can you identify words from that sentence which will help you pick the right option? Options for blank 2 is burgeoning, thriving, fading, losing, exposing. What do you think is the answer? Okay. So, you'll also have to know to eliminate the wrong answer options, right? Most of you are giving me A, B. Some of you are even saying C. How do I eliminate wrong answer options? If you look at the context, that's why I said I am waiting still for somebody to come back and tell me what are the context clues. Let's go back. If you look at a dash population, a booming economy, rapid urbanization, a growing awareness and appetite for pursuing healthcare. So, if I'm looking at something to pursue healthcare, obviously I need a positive word. है ना? What are all my clues from the context? Booming, rapid urbanization, growing awareness. These are my clue words, right? If these are my clue words and I need a positive word, I will immediately eliminate option C, D and E. Exposing is kind of an unrelated word, right? Exposing, you can look at whether it can be a positive or even a negative context depending on how you are placing that word in a sentence, right? But fading and losing, definite no. It's not a positive word, it's a negative word. I have to choose between A and B. है ना? See, when I say somebody is exposed, which means they can be even prone to danger, right? So I can't look at that word only as a positive word. It also has negative meanings or connotations to it. I have to choose between burgeoning and thriving. So these are the two options that are closest in meaning. So out of these two, if I have to pick an option, what we are looking at is some more clues from the context. Remember, I keep saying closed passage is all about the entire context. Having said that, what are we looking at? India's healthcare sector, that is our subject. It is poised for takeoff. Okay, that's a clue word. And please understand, we're looking at a growing awareness. We're looking at a booming economy. We're looking at, something that is about to start, pursuing healthcare. Rapid urbanization. If that is the case, what is the meaning of burgeoning? The difference between burgeoning and thriving, for your information, both can be synonyms, but we have to pick the most effective word. Burgeoning means what? Anybody? Burgeoning means something that is, the only difference is this is begin to grow, okay? And thriving, on the other hand, when will I say something is thriving? Thriving means flourishing, right? Thriving means flourishing. So if I say, let's say your particular town, let's say Kerala has been, that may not be your town, I'm just using a random city, right? So let's say, for example, Kerala has been thriving on tourism. If I say that, what I'm saying is the circumstances and the environment and the locations in that place is enabling tourists to flock there, and because of that, right, it's gaining a lot of popularity. So when I say something is thriving, it means it is successful in something, right? It is doing really well. But in this context, I need a word which is talking about something that is about to start, something that is about to grow rapidly. So that's why burgeoning is the right answer. Yeah. So if I have to choose between burgeoning and thriving, even though they can be synonym in meaning, I am looking at a word that is talking about healthcare industry about to take off. Healthcare industry, I'm creating an awareness now only about that. So which means I need a word which is talking about beginning to start, beginning to grow rapidly, right? So the word is burgeoning and not thriving. Yeah. Option A. So we have India's healthcare sector stands at a crucial inflection point and is poised for takeoff. A burgeoning population, a booming economy, rapid urbanization, a growing awareness and appetite for pursuing healthcare. These are the ingredients going into the formula that has dashed the growth of the healthcare industry. Again, my options are goaded, urged, propelled, animated, spurred. If you ask me, all the 5 options, there are links, which means they are all kind of synonym, almost the same meaning, but I again need to choose the most effective word. What is your option? What are your options? Tell me. Think and tell me. So if you give me an answer, you tell me why you think that's the answer. What is the difference between goad, urge, propel, animate and spurred? I'll give you a clue. One of the best ways to eliminate wrong answer options is to think of usually this word, what will I associate this word to? Think of collocations. That will also help you eliminate the wrong answer options, because we are looking at a particular concept here, which is what our subject is healthcare industry. So most of you have said option E. Okay, let's look at our options. Okay, when you say goad, so I'm not going to show my face for some time. Let's just look at the options. Okay, when you say goad, think of cattle or a horse. Okay, so you normally use a stick. Have you seen people who take care of sheep or cows, or what do to kind of put them in, make them go in a particular direction on the road, or otherwise they have a stick, right? So they goad them, stir them to move in a particular direction. Or if you are on a horse, right, you goad the horse so that it does what you want it to do, whether you want it to gallop or you want it to trot, right? Things like that. So goad is usually used with animals, and not only that, goad has a negative meaning to it, right? When do you goad somebody? Usually the outcome is a violent reaction. When you goad someone, the reaction that you will get from them is not a very positive one, right? It will either be anger or annoyance or irritated, or they will do some impulsive act which they will regret later. So goad is a word that I will quickly eliminate. Urged, propelled, animated again. Somebody who's, sometimes I'm very animated, the way I speak, I use a lot of my hands, I use a lot of my facial expressions, right? Animated, I can also again eliminate because it's an unrelated word. So if I have to choose between urged, propelled and spurred, when you urge someone to do something, the first thing that comes to my mind is, I urge you to please post one question per post in the discussion forum, which means I'm requesting you, right? Urge is when you urge someone, you're expecting them to follow a particular course of action. I urge you to do this. Somebody is urging you to do something, right? So in that context, I wouldn't say that's the most effective word, so I will eliminate option B as well, urge. Propel. Propel is a word that I can relate to fire propelling the rocket to move upward, steam propelling the engine to move forward, right? You can propel a boat with the oars, right? Some sort of a forward motion, propelling. Henna. See, you can, so quickly I'm associating this word with propel a boat, you can propel a boat, yeah? Steam propels a ship, rocket, is designed to propel the spacecraft. A boat is again propelled by a diesel engine, right? And if I look at spurred, let's go back to our context, okay? The context, these are the ingredients going into the formula that has dashed the growth of the healthcare industry. So, don't you think a burgeoning population, a booming economy, rapid urbanization, a growing awareness would be the perfect thing to encourage the healthcare industry, right? It is serving the right causes to encourage, and that's why spurred would be a more effective word as compared to all the other options. Are you following? Serving to encourage, right? That's another meaning of spurred. So please understand, urge is also a very close word that you can use, right? But in terms of a positive outcome, I would pick spurred, which is a more effective word. So anything that is serving to urge or encourage would be spurred, and that's exactly what we need in this context. These are the ingredients going into the formula that has spurred the growth of the healthcare industry. Moving on, however, every rose has its thorn. So here is a contrast. So far we've looked at what is needed to help the healthcare industry to blossom, to move forward, but not everything is hunky-dory. What's the meaning of hunky-dory? Everything is good. Let's move on. Let's look at our last two options. Indian healthcare expenditure is still amongst the lowest globally and a significant challenge in terms of healthcare service. Let's look at 4 and 5 together. Option 4, flows, exists, lives, endures, consists. This is an easy one. because it's just pure collocations. What do you think is the answer? Super. So everybody, most of you got it right? Because it's talking about a challenge that is already there in the healthcare industry. So obviously, we're not talking about what it comprises. We're not talking about what it has to, as in something that is long lasting. Lives is an unrelated, it's not the right word given the context, and flows is not the word that we're looking at. So obviously, it has to be something that is already there, present. So this is the challenge. The expenditure, healthcare expenditure is the lowest globally, and a significant challenge exists in terms of openness, convenience, friendliness, accessibility and command. Now for the last one, there is a context clue. Can you quickly identify the context clue? What is the context clue for blank 5? Urban areas, focus, service, still, focus. What is the focus? Where is the focus in? This entire phrase actually, this entire last sentence, what with a majority of healthcare focused in India's urban areas. Which means what? What is the area that is missing out on not getting these healthcare services? Where there is no quality of patient care. Which areas are not accessed? What's your answer? Give me the answer to that question. What with a majority of healthcare focused in India's urban areas? Which means, what areas are not getting the proper quality of healthcare? Yes, focus on low caste people. Basically, we're talking about rural areas. So that's our answer. The last sentence is the answer. So we're talking about, hey boss, if healthcare industry is only focusing on urban areas, what about the rural areas? They're not getting quality patient care. They are not having, great healthcare services. That's why accessibility is the right answer, right? Not openness, not convenience, not friendliness, not command. So what have we basically done? We've applied some of the techniques that we're already familiar with, which is, hey, there is always a clue in the context. There is always an option for me to choose the most effective word because of the theme, the central idea of the passage, right? So I want you to first of all be able to connect the dots. Like if you look at, let's go back. If you look at option 1, blank 1 and blank 3, almost all the words are kind of interrelated. They're all synonyms. So which means I have to constantly know how to choose the most effective word or the most appropriate word. How will I do that? We did a couple of things, right? We did collocations. We associated with, what will I associate propel to mostly? What will I associate go to? Eliminate the wrong answer options. What is the context expecting me to identify as the answer?